Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 in Bermuda, and in Mexico City, where they're celebrating Independence Day today, it's 10:30 a.m. We know we will not have many viewers there. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone us toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. On this day in history, 1 year ago today, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, the largest bankruptcy filing in the history of the United States to date. Let's hope that it remains the largest one. A couple of bits of news. As we speak, President Obama is delivering an address to United Auto Workers members in Lordstown, Ohio, at a General Motors plant. Just a short time ago, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said publicly that the recession is likely over. Also, at the same time, about an hour ago, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown admitted that the government is going to have to take severe belt-tightening measures in order to reduce the budget deficit over there, validating what the Conservative Party has been saying for some time, that they have to control spending. So we'll be following that as well. Now to our news. Maybe one of the reasons that Chairman Bernanke is saying that the recession over is this news. Sales at U.S. retailers rose at their fastest pace in 3.5 years last month. A gauge of manufacturing index as well in New York State also hit a 2-year high. The Commerce Department this morning said that total retail sales jumped 2.7%, the biggest monthly advance since January of 2006. They had dipped during the month of July by 0.2%. Analysts polled by Reuters, for example, had forecast retail sales jumping by 2%. Instead, they went up 2.7%. The August sales, of course, were boosted by the government's Cash for Clunkers program. That was the automobile trade-in deal. High gasoline prices also added to the rise in sales. A banker who is an economist at the Bank of Tokyo, Mitsubishi, Chris Rupke, said the V-shaped recovery just got a badly needed shot in the arm today. The consumer is back in the game in a big way. In the U.S., consumer spending accounts for about 70% of the entire U.S. economy. Some other news. Global broker Willis, through its Willis Limited subsidiary, has agreed to pay $130 million to the United States Property and Casualty Company CNA's Continental Casualty Unit, this to settle a dispute over the placement of personal accident reinsurance. This was disclosed in a filing with the SEC. The settlement calls for the broker to pay Continental $60 million by the 12th of October and another $70 million by December 23rd. CNA said that the settlement will boost third quarter after-tax operating results in its life and group non-core segment by around $60 million. Willis believes that the settlement amount will be covered by its E&O insurance. The suit was filed originally in the English Commercial Court in 2008. Well, there was some very interesting news. Yesterday the President spoke up in Lower Manhattan, chiding bankers for their recklessness. Across town, at the same time, a federal judge issued a very, very sharp rebuke. This is one actually with teeth in it. This was aimed not only at some of those same financiers that the President was speaking with, but also for some of the regulators. Here he is. This is Federal Judge Jed Rakoff, and he definitely deserves a round of applause. We'll give it to him. Judge Rakoff issued a scathing ruling the other day about one of the watershed moments of the financial crisis that just ensued over the past year, and that was the takeover of Merrill Lynch by the Bank of America. The judge refused to approve a $33 million deal that would have settled the lawsuit filed by the SEC against the Bank of America. That suit, brought by the government, alleged that the bank failed to adequately That suit alleged that the bank failed to adequately disclose the bonuses that were paid by Merrill Lynch before the merger. The merger was completed in January. The judge accused the SEC of failing in its role as Wall Street's watchdog by going too easy on one of the biggest banks it regulates. He also accused executives at the Bank of America for failing to take responsibility for actions that blindsided its shareholders and hit the taxpayers who bailed the bank out. The sharply worded ruling invoked justice and morality. It also seemed to speak not only to the deal itself, but also anger across the country over the excesses that led to the financial crisis. Mr. Obama, for his part, said, "We will not go back to the days of reckless behavior and unchecked excess at the heart of this crisis." Now the other shoes began to drop. New York Attorney General Andrew Cuomo is now drafting civil fraud charges against Bank of America executives. Those charges could include Bank of America CEO Ken Lewis and the Chief Financial Officer Joseph Price. A decision on the charges and which executives will be named as defendants is expected very soon. The trade war that's brewing between the U.S. and China seems to have been ratcheted down a little bit. Yesterday we mentioned the tariffs that the president has put on Chinese tires. This morning, China tried to allay fears of a trade war, saying it will press a World Trade Organization case against the new U.S. tariffs, but it wants to avoid harming relations. A Commerce Ministry spokesman in Beijing said, U.S. and Chinese economic relations are the most important bilateral relations in the world. We don't want to see anything bad happen to bilateral relations. The president approved the duties on the Chinese tires on Friday to slow the rapid growth of those tires into the U.S. The labor unions in the country here are blaming those tire flooding of the market, if you will, for the loss of thousands of U.S. jobs. Of course, there are many other things on the plate between China and the U.S., including the global economic crisis, climate change, and North Korea's little nuclear program. The conflict is a big-time irritant to the two countries as they're preparing for the Group of 20 Pittsburgh summit on the 24th of September. The president will be there, as will the president of China, Hu Jintao. Both governments want that meeting to be a success. The Chinese did repeat that they rejected Mr. Obama's tariffs as an improper trade barrier, but said that they want to settle the dispute through negotiation. And they stressed the import to both sides of close relations. Jonathan Kent down in Bermuda in the Royal Gazette is reporting this morning that yesterday XL Capital announced that Chief Financial Officer Brian Noko will leave the company at the end of this year. Mr. Noko took over the post in July of 2007. He's overseen the Bermuda-based insurer's finances during the most tumultuous period in XL's history. Last year, of course, XL lost more than $2.5 billion in connection with their exposure to their bond insurer, Syncora Holdings. They've recovered very well this year. The book value has increased, as has the investment portfolio. Yesterday, XL said that the company and Mr. Noko had agreed that he would leave effective at year-end. He's going to stay until the end of the year to ensure a smooth transition. The company has initiated a search for Mr. Noko's successor, and CEO Mike McGavick thanked Mr. Noko for his many contributions to XL over the years. Mr. Noko had been, before joining XL, the Chief Risk Officer at Nationwide out in Columbus. Stock market's down about 11 points now. We'll go to a word from our sponsors.